Welcome back to the 150K podcast. I'm your host, Joe Graham, and we help take your dreams to six figures and beyond. Today, I have with me my buddy, special guest, Andrew Sayles. He's been on the show this is the second time he's come on the show. Last time we talked about solar, sales, a bunch of stuff. But since then, he's done a hard shift into NFTs, crypto, and other things. He didn't get rid of the solar. He just built his empire more. So, Andrew, for people that haven't, maybe they didn't hear the first episode or don't know you as well, give us a little bit of your background and, kind of where you're at and what you're doing now.
Absolutely, man. Great to be back on this 150K podcast, man. This is legendary. I can't wait to get to 150,000 episodes on the route you're going.
Yeah.
But my background, I was a screw up growing up. I live in St. Louis City. I've always been an entrepreneur, but the first form of entrepreneurship I was exposed to was selling drugs. So I sold drugs from 15 to 20. When I was 20, these cops beat me up, took my drugs and let me go. I started playing poker full time. My past caught up to me. I went to jail. When I got out, I got in the door-to-door sales, built up, had some success. My past caught up with me again. I went to jail, got out, built up again. Went back to jail, got out another time. And this time I finally got my life together. And I reached out to a mentor, a guy named Bill Rowland, who ran that very first door-to-door company I worked for. It's called 2020 Companies. He sold it for 150 million.
Wow, and that's cool.
Yeah, I met him on Facebook, or I didn't meet him on Facebook, but I found him on Facebook, because I'd never really talked to him in person or anything. And I was like, hey man, you don't know me and I don't know you, but I want to say thank you. I just spent 6 months in jail, but I was working on personal development the whole time. I didn't know about personal development before I met you. So I just want to say thank you. I'm going to do big things. And I didn't expect him to answer, but sure enough, he shot me a message back and gave me his number. And long story short, he took me under his wing about 5-6 years ago. I was in 2016 or so. And, he helped me build a door-to-door company. I made, 100,000 plus off of a couple years in a row. He helped me start a healthcare company that I scaled to the point of making 50K profit a month off of. And then he introduced me to my solar mentor that helped me build my solar company. And, when I was building my door-to-door company and I got out of jail, I ran into one of my poker buddies because I had played poker full time before I went to jail the first time. And when the government banned online poker, a lot of my friends went to Mexico to play. And this guy was in town and he's like, man, did you hear about Bitcoin? Because we had all, poker players always owe each other money, and we'd always send Bitcoin back and forth because that was the cheapest way to send money back then. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, man, I heard it got to $100, but it'll probably never go any higher. And he's like, dude, it's $1,000. And I was like, holy shit. And so I spent the next 6 months researching Bitcoin and crypto every single day. And I finally pulled the trigger. And, I bought my first Bitcoin at like $2,600 and, was getting more after that. And you remember back then, how I am on social media too. Actually, you won a giveaway I had back then.
I did.
Oh.
I still have that. It's still growing.
That's tight. I gave Joe his first $50 in crypto.
Yep.
But when I get excited, I talk about stuff on social media, and people were hitting me up every single day, asking about crypto. So I started a crypto group, and I took on 100 clients within 40 days. And it turned into a hive mind where we're investing in these things called nodes, and they like pretty much print money and stuff. And we were flipping them. And then the bear market came, and bear market means like the market went down pretty big. And so I got a good offer to sell the group. So I sold it and walked away. And then when the next bull market came, when Bitcoin started going up again like crazy, some guys from the group reached out to me and asked me to start a new group. And I'm real big on like personal development and helping people and self-education. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. And, we got in some projects super early and did really well with them. And I had heard about NFTs, but I thought they were stupid. And I found one that I liked because it made sense to me. And it was the first NFT project we got in, and it did 180x over 6 weeks. And it, like a $1,200 investment turned to like 50 grand in 6 weeks. So we were like, we know how to spot good crypto projects. We know how to spot good NFT projects. Why don't we just start our own? And so that's what we did. We started our own project. It started out, it was gonna be something for our friends and friends of friends, but then it just developed this whole crazy momentum. And like I was telling you earlier, solar, it pays my bills right now with my 60 to 90 hours a week, going to crypto and growing this project and building our empire in the metaverse.
Yeah. Well, and I follow you guys on there, and I think you've gotten some pretty big um, people that are like supporting you. Like I know I saw Ryan Stewman. That's one
Yeah.
that popped out to me enough. But you had some other people that have like joined and like kind of sponsored it. But for people that don't know, what is even an NFT? Because like some people listen to this probably have no idea. Because again, this is still pretty new. It's like when Bitcoin first came out, a few people did it. Now everyone's doing crypto, but they don't really know what NFTs are. So give us like an idea of what that is.
Yeah, for sure. So an NFT is a digital asset. So it's just something that you can own on the blockchain. And a blockchain is just a digital ledger where information is stored, right? It's like the internet. It's just like another layer of the internet. So like this painting, I could own that on the internet, and it could be tracked from person to person to person. And some people, they buy NFTs for the artwork, right? That's not me though. I've never, like, I think that's a pretty cool painting behind me, but I've never really been into art. Me, I buy NFTs, I invest in NFTs for the utility, the use case, the need that it solves.
Mhm.
When I find something an NFT like that, that's what really jumps out to me. So there's NFTs that deal with gaming, movies, and music, NFTs that are tied to like funds and stuff like that, the fractionalized ownership. That's what I look for at NFT, an actual use case tied to the art. The art's just secondary to me.
Mhm. So for someone just starting out, say they're like, they've gotten into it a little bit, they have like maybe a grand or 2 grand just to start out. What would you suggest for them? Would you say go into the NFTs? Would you say, hey, get into more of the crypto? Like just some, and again, hold on, let me make sure I say this. This is just us talking. We are not recommending anything on certain. We're not giving anything. This is just two guys talking about crypto and NFTs. We're not responsible for anyone else's choices in this. You can make a lot of money. You can lose a lot of money. I just need to put that disclaimer out there. That way no one comes back and says, hey, you told me. We didn't tell you. We're just talking. But just an idea, if you had $1,000 and you were just starting out now, or you have someone coming in, what would you advise them to do? Like, how would you advise them to do it?
So I think everybody should have a crypto bag and an NFT bag, right? So like if I NFT bag, that's kind of funny to say. but so like if I only had $1,000 and I was starting off right now, I'd probably put half of it, or like if I had $2,000, I'd put like half of it in like a cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, one of the big ones, something probably safe with some upside. Then I take the other half and I put it into NFTs. And the reason I say you want a portion of NFTs, because there's a lot of NFTs that generate passive income just by holding them. And like I know like the people listening to this are like, oh man, he's on some MLM shit. But no, like trust me, like I hate MLM just as much as everybody out there.
Yeah, this is an
The
MLM.
the way it works with NFTs is different, and I make quite a bit of passive income off this. So I'll tell you guys my best investment of the year, but first let me explain how it works and how you make passive income off these NFTs. So let's imagine you acquire a painting, right? And maybe we'll just say like the Mona Lisa for simple sake, because the painting everybody knows, and it's a super expensive painting.
Yeah.
And when you get it, you're like, man, I can't keep this in my house. I got to get a safety deposit at the bank, a safety deposit box at the bank. So you go to the bank, you get your safety deposit box, you put your NFT in there. I'm sorry, you put your Mona Lisa in the safety deposit box, and in this crazy universe, for showing faith in the system, for showing faith in the bank, they send you like three or $400 every single week, just like clockwork. They send you $300 or $400 a week for just storing it there. Well, this crazy universe actually takes place in reality on the blockchain, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can get my NFT, this digital asset, I can store it on the blockchain, and then they will give me tokens for storing the NFT on the blockchain. So the best investment I've made so far this year, it was called the Gods NFT. Mm-hmm. And what I did was I bought it for $900, and then I sold it about 70 days later for 30 grand.
Wow, and that's good.
Yeah, it was a great investment. And the entire, what really attracted me to it though was the passive income aspect. I knew there was I knew once the market caught up with it, it was gonna pop. So what I was able to do is I was able to stake it, store it on the blockchain, like our online bank account. I was able to store it there And for doing that, I earned tokens every day that were called dust tokens. Now, again, like people are like, well, who would want dust tokens? Well, me being tied into NFTs, I understand that the best NFTs are the most expensive ones because they're the most stable, but they also have a lot of upside. But your average person might not have $3,000 to $5,000 to invest in you know, an NFT like that. Well, what the Gods NFT project did is they took all the money they raised, bought a bunch of other blue chip NFTs, and this dust token that people generated from the Gods NFTs can be used to purchase expensive NFTs at a big discount because there's a limited supply of dust. So I knew there was gonna, you know, again, I said I look at NFTs for the use case, the utility, what need does it solve? Well, the need is people want expensive NFTs, but they can't always afford them. Well, here comes an NFT that will give you a token if you show faith in the system and store it in the blockchain, and that token can be used to purchase other NFTs at a discount. So I was like, wow, this is huge. So that's why I would say, yeah, half in crypto, but then throw half at an NFT that's going to generate some passive income for you.
Yeah, well, no, that makes sense. It's kind of like stocks. You have your bonds, you have your mutual funds, and then maybe you have like a certain company you want to put money into that you feel is going to grow over the long run, or maybe a quick turnaround. Like right now, oil and gas is this way. There's a thing called Gush that I put money into, and it's based off of the gas prices going up. Well, a month or 2 months ago it was at $72. Today it's at $177. So if you would have invested on that, kind of like stock, you can go and then you can sell and get a kind of a short-term and long-term investments is what I'm hearing you say with it.
Yeah, there's that, and if we're gonna relate it to stocks, let's talk about stocks that pay dividends, right? Like a lot of these NFTs, when you stake them, you'll earn tokens, and those tokens are like being paid out a dividend. And but the beauty is, like, you know, like you have to own tons of stocks to get a decent dividend on something like Apple or Facebook. I don't know if Facebook pays dividends. I honestly am only in crypto.
Different stocks do, but yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but I know you have to own a ton. With one NFT that I bought for $900 on the way up to 30 grand, I made $150 a day in tokens off of it, and I just sold those tokens on the open market, you know, to take equity off the table on the way up, and then I didn't get greedy. I sold it, you know, not at the absolute top, but close to the top.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the new thing, and it's kind of like this. This is what happens with everything. When something new like this comes out, you have your early people that are going to try it out. Then you have the people that after it's been there for a little bit, they'll start coming. Then the middle of the road will do it. Then you have your stragglers. I still think with NFTs, we're at the very beginning stage. You know, because like Bitcoin, when it first came out, however many years ago it was, you were excited when it was at $1,000. When I looked at it today, I think it was at 30. When I looked at it a couple months ago, it was at 66. I rode that up. I put a couple $100 in it when it was like 24 and rode it up to 50. But I was telling a guy that I'm associated with, I'm like, look, in this game, you need to have your out strategy, just like you do with stocks. If you're riding it up, you bought for this amount, you get here, and you can't be emotional about it. I think that's something that just people need to be careful, because this can be like, get excited and you think it's always going to go up, 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 but there's risk to it and you can lose it all. So it's kind of like you have to be very, like you said, intentional with what you're doing.
Yep. And you want to know the market, right? Like when it's easy to get fooled in that it's thinking it's easy to make money at crypto, because there's times when everything just goes up and up. But you want to talk about risk. There was a coin just recently called Luna. It went from $100 down to fractions of a cent in a few days. But you know, me as somebody that's tied into the community, the whole time this coin was on the way up, I was like, this doesn't make any sense because the system isn't sustainable. And you know, people just kept putting money into it. And like, there's people that had like $20 million in it and stuff, and you know, now it's worth like, you know, 10,000 or something crazy like that. Yeah. So yeah, you do need to know what you're investing to, and educate yourself if you're going to put your money into crypto and NFTs. It's not just easy money like some people make it out to be. What I tell people is, if you're investing in crypto or NFTs, you're essentially becoming your own bank. And if you're going to become your own bank, you need to take the same responsibility to protect and hopefully grow your money that banks take with your money, aka really their money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is a lot of responsibility that comes with this type of investing.
So how do people navigate this? Now, I know your group's good and you're solid, and I can vouch for you that you're going to treat people fair, but like, I can't tell you how many, and I drop into people's DMs, so I don't think this is a bad thing, but when you do it bad, you frustrate me. But I don't know how many crypto or MLM or people that just drop in, they go, buy my crypto. And you're like, bro, you don't know me. What are you talking about? And then you start talking because I have a general knowledge of it. And half of them are just reading a script. So how do people get through the noise to get to the right groups and stuff?
Yeah, man, that's a really great question, to be honest. Like when I started, there wasn't really quite this much noise. Like I said, I spent about 6 months researching, and I went to the 2+2 poker forums and read through the entire forum, and then there'd be stuff to cross reference this and that. And the people in the forums are never really trying to teach anything. They're always like, yeah, go look here and figure it out, and so like now you got a lot of people, and it's funny to where somebody could have just started investing 3 months ago, and they know more than somebody brand new, and they talk like they know something. And unless you truly know them, like you don't see the things that they say that truly expose themselves. So there's plenty of people out there though that they have great content, and some of them are, and there's plenty of people that know stuff that some of them are just average everyday people. So like if you're if you're looking at like an influencer, check their track record, right? Like me, I'm not a big influencer, but I have videos of me telling you to buy B&B when it was like $7 back like 4 or 5 years ago, and it touched like $500 last year. You look at I have videos of me saying my top 10 coins back then, and most of them are still around now. And there's only about 15 coins still around from 2017. So like I have a verifiable track record. You can scroll my Facebook and see some of the stuff I share and see I have a verifiable track record. Every single morning, I run a chat called Coffee and Crypto.
Yep.
And sometimes in our chats, we make calls. We made a call a couple weeks ago that it was a $30 investment, right? Anybody with just a couple bucks could have got in. On our call, it ran up to 90. About 7 days later, it ran up to 1,500. And then they airdropped us a free NFT worth 400. So anybody that threw $30 in, we told them, arguably made about 1,500 bucks as long as they kind of sold when we said we were selling.
Yeah. Yep.
So you can find somebody with the verifiable track record. Then on top of that, the other thing is just get involved, right? Like you got to learn about the space. So there's a lot of space, like they're called Twitter Spaces. They're like chat rooms. Jump in there and hear what people are talking about and listen to them and start learning. And if you don't know something, raise your hand and ask a question. And that's really what you got to do. You got to take responsibility for your learning. Get on the Twitter Spaces, the Clubhouse rooms, go to live events. Learning at a live event is just next level because it's just so intense. Like crypto moves like 6 weeks in crypto is like 6 months in the real world, in NFTs and shit, with as fast as it moves. And it moves faster in person because you're just networking so much faster and like learning what they know that you don't. So yeah, you gotta find a solid group, like people that they know what they're talking about. They're generally able to get a solid group of people around them, and they usually have a verifiable track record. But on top of that, you do just have to take responsibility for your education and put yourself in those spaces and do a bunch of reading and just look into stuff.
Yeah, when it sounds like pretty much anything. There's risk in doing a sales job. There's risk in starting a business. There's risk in going on a date. Like there's risk in everything. You have to be willing to put the work, the time in, learn about the product before you make that type of investment. Or if you just want to roll the dice, know that you might get burnt. I mean, that's just how it works. Some of it is just trial and error. So, because my mom was saying this, I had a guy and we were talking a little bit about Web3. So NFT kind of flows into Web3. That's kind of the same type of thing. Like I've heard of people like, I'm buying businesses or something in. So break that down. Now, have you gotten into like the whole Web3 thing, or is that just a whole different thing altogether?
Yeah, so like Web3 is really where it all ties together at, right? And so like to kind of break it down, because it is weird, and a lot of people probably throw the word out there and might not even really know what it means. But like, so like to me, Web 1 was how it all started out. And like I remember being in like 6th, 7th grade, and my friends that were like, I was into computers young, but I was never like the computer nerd. I just thought they were
Mhm.
and my friends were on like IRC and MIRC, and they were just like chats, and you could download stuff back and
Yep.
forth. And we can even wrap into Web 1 Napster.
Mhm.
That was part of that real connectivity with Web 1. Well, then Web 2 came, and it was everything just more organized, right? To what we are in, right now with there's Google and these search engines, and then
Yeah.
like your friends are easily organized on these social media apps, and then like different glimpses into their life based on different apps, and that's Web 2. But the issue with Web 2 is all that organization that's going place and that's going down, and that data that's being capitalized off that organization is going to the pockets of very few.
Yep.
Well, the directive of Web 3 is essentially build on the infrastructure that was put in place for Web 1, but to put that money in the pockets of many. And that goes by creating, first of all, but then also solely just by participating in the system. And that's why a lot of these NFTs tie into Web 3, right? And like I'm big on what's called gaming NFTs. So
Mhm.
like I told you that we can stake our NFTs, we can store them on the blockchain, and they'll generate tokens passively. Well, there's gaming NFTs, and these NFTs can be used in a game,
Mhm.
in multiple games. And when you win or perform certain tasks, you earn crypto.
Yeah.
And so like that's for me that grew up playing games when I was a kid. Like I was never a big gamer or anything, but I understood games. It made sense to me that, oh, I can make some tokens play in this game, and then I can use them on in-game items, or I can sell them to other people that want to
Mhm.
use those in-game items. And kind of the way I like to explain it is, I was poor growing up, so like I had Sonic though, and if I was playing Sonic, you run and you grab all the rings, and as you grab the
Yep.
rings, you
Yep.
can upgrade and progress levels. And like I'd hustle up. Well, there's probably rich kids out there that didn't want to do the grind; they just want to run through the game and kick ass. So if I could store those rings, and then at the end of the game put them in a vault and then sell them to the rich kids, they would probably buy them and then upgrade
Yep.
their
Yep.
Sonic and just kick ass in the game. And that's what happens in these NFT games, these play to earn games. And that's what Web 3 is. Instead of the developers of the game making all that money and being like, well, yeah, you can give us $10,000 to upgrade your Sonic and kick ass. Well, the people like me can play the game, earn rewards within the game, and then sell those rewards on the open market to other
Mhm.
people. And then there's many other ways that it gets monetized the same way with social media,
Yeah.
right? To where we could take this 150K podcast, build out a platform, called something podcast or whatever. You turn your podcast brand into an NFT. You sell the NFTs. You have a pool where people can stake them, and
Mhm.
in the same way that Spotify or Pandora pays for streams, we'd set it up to where 50% of those earnings from streams would go to you, and 50% would go to the people that owned your 150K podcast NFT that had it staked in your pool. So you earn a part of the fees that are coming in from advertising and all that good shit, for being a creator. And then the people that participate in your creation, they earn for participating. And I'll drop some real alpha on here for you guys. I hope you hear this one quick.
Yeah.
There's an NFT right now called Steppin', and
Mhm.
they're NFT shoes. And you buy these shoes, you download the app to your phone, and when you walk, you earn coins called GST. And with 3 shoes right now, I'm making about $120 a day walking for 20 minutes. And I'm about to
Wow.
upgrade the 9 shoes, and I'll be making about 500 after I upgrade my shoes and stuff. And
So
it's big
like
over.
when you're walking, because I walk a lot. So like, are you talking about like literally walking? You get paid to walk, or is
Literally
there?
walking.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That
You,
intrigues me because I walk about 2 to 3 miles a day.
and that's Web 3, right?
Mhm.
Because they have these tokens, they have a use case, because you can actually breed the shoes, and you have to have the tokens to breed the shoes and create new shoes, and people
Mhm.
use those shoes to go walk, and then you earn tokens from walking, you upgrade the shoes. But then like they raised a bunch of venture capitalist money, but what I foresee the big future of it is companies are going to want this data of where people are walking, right?
Yep.
When it's being tracked. They're already working deals with Adidas. So like
Mhm.
once this comes to the US, like legit this summer, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm making $1,000 to $2,000 a day just walking for, at that point I'll be walking for 45 minutes to an hour.
Mhm.
But that's Web3. Instead of these other companies monetizing your data, your actions, you're compensated for that. And that's what we're building out.
No, that's cool. Yeah, that's kind of like the next step. A lot of people might call it virtual reality or stuff. But like I've heard people buy in different storefronts in it or doing different things. And then now I've heard of bigger businesses actually starting to look into it and invest, wanting to make sure they're not left behind. Um,
That's
no,
the
there,
gimmick, in my opinion.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I cut
Oh,
you
you're
off
good.
there, but that's the gimmick, right? To where you see like the movers and shakers in the space from the fakers and the corporations trying to jump in. They
Yeah.
think it's going to be all about virtual reality and this and that, and like that's going to be a tiny aspect of it.
Mhm.
Web3 is connecting your everyday life, your everyday actions to the internet, essentially how we already are through our phones,
Mhm.
and you being compensated for it.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that's going to be built within it, that's going to be just like the icing on the cake. That's going to be the fun stuff. The real stuff is what I just explained
Mhm.
right there, is your everyday actions being rewarded, and that'll be the future of everything.
Yeah. Well, and that makes more sense. So instead of Facebook or Instagram or someone's seeing where you go and selling your data, you can just sell your data and get paid for your data, which makes more sense because it's you anyway. I'm a libertarian. I don't want someone making money off of me. I want to get paid for what I do. I'm
Exactly.
a sales guy. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. There's a space for everybody in Web3, and so that's why I'm carving out my niche right now, and I try to urge all my friends to carve out their niche, and why I try to truly pioneer the space and provide value for people that want to come in and learn.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So let's do this. Let's talk a bit because we talked a lot about like NFTs, crypto, and that type of stuff. But you still also have your what I would almost call your day job now. So right now you have the solar that's paying the bills and everything. And you're still building teams there, but you are a sales expert. So I can't let you off the show without giving us some sales tips as well. I know last time we talked door to door, but you've done a lot of different types of sales for someone that's just starting out, maybe they want to get into NFTs and all that stuff, but they don't have any money right now to do it. Let's talk a little bit about hustling, doing sales, that type of stuff that we can get them to the point where they can maybe start investing in crypto and making money that way. Because you and I
For
both know
sure.
if they have $100, they're not getting anywhere really in crypto. But if they can build up a little nest egg, then they can make that grow.
Yeah, for sure. So what were you asking, what I would do if I was just starting out in sales and you had to start from nothing?
Yeah, say that you see the crypto market, you see Web3, you want to get into it, but you don't have the money to do it. What would you do sales wise or business wise to get to a place where you can do that?
So I think the easiest way, not necessarily easy because everybody would do it, but like the quickest way to make cash in sales is just go out, find a good door to door position with with a good product that you believe in, and sell and just pound doors and figure it out, and make some quick money, and then, fire to the market. Then when you get something to play with, if you want to go full time, do it. If you're the other route is to get involved in Web3 and find something that you can make money off of in the space, and there's a lot of opportunities, right? So when a new project comes into existence, and is first put on the market, there's a thing called a whitelist,
Mhm.
and usually you have to do several actions that could take you a few days to get that opportunity to get yourself on the whitelist. Well, there's people out there they're whales. They're called whales. They have a ton of money. They'll pay people to go out and do these actions, and collect the whitelist spot for them, and like that's turned it into a full-time position. Or like if you're watching the space and you're passionate about it and you truly educate yourself, there's projects that there's a lot of communication that goes down in discords and telegrams. People will pay good money,
Mhm.
500 to 1,000 a week for a community manager to manage a discord in, and they usually pay in crypto, right? that
Yeah.
that's that, that's a good way to get involved in a couple entry level positions in the space, and then those are really just sales positions, because part of the job is getting out there and putting the hustle in, and selling people on joining the project too. So If I had to do it 100% in the real world, I'd probably knock some doors, knock 100, 150 doors a day, to be real, especially because we're on the 150K podcast.
Yep, yep.
Or if I had to do it in the metaverse, I'd find a way to do it that way too.
Yeah. Well, and you know what's funny? Success leaves clues. It doesn't matter if it's in like a sales space, like what we've all been in, or the metaverse, whatever. The time, the effort, the presence, the intention you put into something is what comes back to you. So a lot of people dream and are like, I want to do this, but if you don't put the work in, doesn't matter what avenue or tool you're using, you're not going to get any money. I think that's the thing that people need to realize, like
Yeah.
you make it sound easy, but I know you, Andy, you've been busting your ass on this for a while. You've been reading, researching, leveling up, connecting, doing the right things you need to do. There's a lot that goes into it. And I think people just need to, like you said, educate themselves, get after
Yeah.
it, find a way to make
Honestly,
money.
and that's anything sales or business or entrepreneurship, you're gonna need to put the time in. It all starts with time. In my sales trainings, I harp on that a lot, to where I say, yeah, we talk about making crazy money here. And it sounds crazy because it is, because we put a crazy amount of time in. We come in and we do this meeting for an hour every day, and then you go out and you sell for another like 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 hours. And then if you're truly trying to level up, you should be going home and reading, watching something on YouTube, going through a course, something to level up, practicing your pitch. And then if you're struggling, you should be popping in the office early and finding somebody who's good and asking them, what can I learn from you, or tell them what you're struggling with. And most top performers are gonna want to help you, unless they're like the lone wolf ones. They're always around too. But there's always somebody. If you're struggling, there's somebody in there that knows more, that's gonna help you at least get to that next level. But it starts with putting that crazy amount of time in, right?
Mhm.
I do that with everything. We were at a NFT week in Miami, and it's supposed to be like a 6-day trip, and it turned into a 14-day trip because we just kept staying for more events. And I was going out, and I spoke on stage at CryptoCon. We had a booth at NFT week. We were at the Solana Hacker House, and I'm networking with all these other projects. We're building a play to earn game. So I'm meeting other people that can build the game out for us down there. But then we also we're bringing investors into our project. So I'm going out with these whales and feeling them out, and making them feel comfortable with me and our project. And so I'm really going to like 2 to 4 a.m. and then getting up at 7 to go back and then work at NFT week and network through the day with on the business side of things at Hacker House. So it was really like 16 to 20-hour days for about 2 weeks at a time. And that last day I just crashed out. I couldn't stay awake, and it was just like, but to deliver for our community, I'll put that time in, and I'll do it day after day until we get to that level to where I know we're gonna be at and we need to be at.
And you know what's funny you said here, and this just made me think of it. You were training while you're doing door to door and just relating with people and learning the connection process and how to talk to people, to now you're in rooms with multimillionaires, with business owners, with players, with this whole new community. And now you're using those skills and networking and speaking on stages and all. So again, a lot of people look back and go, well, this sucks knocking doors. Well, you don't know what you're training and learning now will open the door for you later on.
Yeah, man. You got to start somewhere, and you got to build those skills. And the best way to learn business is through sales, because the core of every business is sales. If you're not selling, there's no fucking business. Like I don't care what the business is. Like
you don't have a business.
yeah, and we get there sometimes to where it's like, all right, guys, we haven't been selling shit for a week. Everybody's sole purpose is to make sure you sell our game board NFTs this week. That's all we care about, is selling game board NFTs. And so it's like, boom, you're a sales guy all of a sudden. So that at its core, you want to know sales, because you can build on top of that. And then you can start learning the management side of things if you're good at sales, right? The next level in sales is sales management. And a lot of people don't even like management, because to be real, you can generally make more as a salesperson.
True.
But the next, to get to the next level, it is management, because then you do have opportunities to create time freedom for yourself down the line. But that teaches you how to manage people and different personalities or different organizations within an organization, and that running a business, and then you go to the next level, and then you truly learn how to run a business and how to build departments within a business, and then make sure you
Yeah.
understand those departments enough to make sure they're running, but then to be able to hand them off to somebody else and have that start properly. But that can all start with putting your knuckles on doors or picking up phones, and you just got to start somewhere and just start sharpening the sword, or even just start getting the weapons right. Like maybe you don't start with the sword, maybe you just got your fist, but that's just what you're starting with, and eventually you'll get the knife, and then
Yep.
eventually you'll
Yep.
get better, then eventually be like Joe that's a slayer, that just crushes out every single thing he does. So but you got to start with that first knock, or that first phone call.
Mhm. Well, and I think, and I know we talked about this before, but it takes 10,000 hours to be a master at anything. And that's
Yep.
not 10,000 hours of rainbows and unicorns. That's knocking on doors, that's getting hung up on phone calls, that's learning the game. And that's with anything. Like you with crypto, you spent thousands of hours doing cryptos and NFTs. I spent thousands of hours to the point now that I actually train people on sales because I understand the process. I understand how to shrink time, understand how to get that repeatable business for them. And the same thing with you with crypto. There's certain things that they need to learn to do, but they have to walk through the process and sometimes just step in it so that you can learn, because you can tell them 100 times, but until they actually go through the experience, sometimes it just doesn't land.
Yep. Yep.
So,
It's
okay.
yeah, and that's the other thing too. Like a lot of sales and business people, they get too caught up in the education side, right? Like you do have to take the action and do something, and then take some punches in the face along the way, because that's just the reality of anything. It's not going to be all unicorns and rainbows. There's going to be some sumo wrestlers trying to body slam you out of success.
Yeah.
and,
Well, and we want to be dragon slayers. You don't want the little ones are fun for a little bit because you get a little excitement, you build the momentum, but then you want to take down the dragons. Then you want to go to the new thing. And then once you get to a certain level, it's like, okay, cool, I've done that. What's next? Who am I going to help next? Now, and it kind of shifts because you can only go on so many trips so much. You can only buy so many toys. Then what are you going to do? What's your legacy going to be? What are you going to accomplish? Who are you going to help?
Yeah, man, and it's funny we say that on this podcast, because like I remember when I was in jail, right, and I never made 100K in a year, and it was like I was working in the kitchen, because you got like some time served for working in the kitchen,
Yep.
and like
Yep.
I played dumb because like I just wanted the easiest job. So like my sole job was to wipe down the tables and like with water and dry them off, and then to scoop the cereal on the breakfast trays every morning. And
Mhm.
like there were like 6,000 trays or some shit. And with every scoop, I'd be like, I made 100K. I made 100K. I
Uh-huh.
made 100K. And then I got out, and I didn't make it that first year, but that second full year out, I made 100K. And then it was like, oh fuck, 100K, that's nothing. And
Mhm.
then it was, then like it just it got to where my lifestyle, just to maintain my lifestyle, was 100K, and
Yep.
making multiple hundred thousands a year. Then it's like, man, I got to get to that million mark, and then started getting around more and more millionaires, and
Mhm.
and get more successful myself. And then it's like, damn man, a million's not really hard, and I met a couple billionaires,
Yep.
and then I was like, damn, how can I make a billion? And then that's kind of why I decided to go all in on crypto and NFTs, because I was like, well, yeah, I know these Web2 businesses, right? Like solar and door to door, a lot of any direct sales business. Yeah, I could figure out ways to make millions off it, but how am I going to make billions? And then
Mhm.
I was like, hey man, I know this space, this crypto, this NFTs, that's the forefront of what Web2, Google, Facebook,
Mhm.
MySpace, all that. I can build my niche here. I can build my empire here, and that can turn into billions. Am I, like I said, within our company, we say we're building to 100 billion, and anything less is a failure.
Mhm.
Um, so and like you said, that new challenge, right? To
Yep.
where you get there, and who knows, once we build that 100 billion, who knows? But I think that's when I'm really just gonna hang it up. And like I've documented the process, and if you want to make a billion, just scroll my Facebook.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows what the next, the challenge then will probably be different, right?
Mhm.
Honestly, then I'll probably buy a sports team, and the new challenge will probably be winning like a World Series. But
Yeah. Go
there,
Rangers. No, I got you. I
yeah,
got you. No, wait, but you said something here, and I don't want people to miss it. when you were in jail and you're scooping the cereal, you're saying, I'm going to make 100,000. I'm going to make 100,000. And we forget, or we really don't understand how our subconscious works and how when you start talking to yourself and start feeding your mind, and then you did some other stuff that people sometimes miss. You got into a room with millionaires. You got in the room with people that made more money. Now, let me put a disclaimer. I think, this is step one. 150K is step one to get there. But it's getting in a room with people that challenge you. It's not the amount of money they made, but the amount of value they can produce in you, pull you up, level you up. So don't hear what I'm not saying. It's not always about money. Money is great. Money is a tool. But the key that you said that I want people to realize is you kept leveling up. A lot of people get to a certain thing. They hit that 100K. They're like, good, I'm good. They're happy and they don't go anywhere else. Or they get to 500,000. I've hit my mark. I'm good. Where else? It really comes down to legacy in life and what you want to do and who you want to be. And then it shifts from what can I make to who can I help? Like that's just been like my biggest epiphany, because I can go out. I don't have to do this. Like, I love doing my podcast. I love talking to people like you. I don't have to do this. I can go out and make a bunch of money. My family and I are good, but I love it when people get that light bulb moment. And that's why I bring in different ways for it. You can do it with NFTs, you can do it with sales, you can do it with brick and mortar. Like, that just fires me up, dude. Like that to me is cool. And I just love that you just keep saying, I'm leveling up. But you're right. Once you get to that level, you're just going to go to a different challenge, because you're an entrepreneur. You can't just sit still and be bored. It's going to drive you nuts.
Yeah, that's just me, right? To where it'll and hopefully, but then maybe I'll start to help my kid build his legacy. But my long-term goal has always been to own the St. Louis Cardinals in 20 years, and guess now we're down to like 15 years. But most people totally underestimate what they can accomplish in 5 years, and let alone 10, 15, 20. It's just so hard to wrap your mind around what 20 years is. But like, when I tell you, I got, it was November 17th, 2015, I got out of jail. When I tell you I how much I accomplished in 5 years, it'll blow your mind. I literally went from being in jail, living with my mom, my girlfriend and my kid, sleeping on a futon, to starting a door-to-door business, then a healthcare company, and making 50,000 a month profit. And I don't tell it to brag. I just, just to show you what's possible. And, like that, and that was about a 4.5, 5 year timeline, right where I hit there. And so anybody can do that if they put 110% direct effort and direct focus into making it happen. And it is kind of funny you say a lot of people hit that plateau, because I personally do struggle at like the 50K a month mark, to where like I get lazy unless I'm truly 100% passionate. Like, even I can be like, I was passionate about healthcare, to be real, but I had to figure out how to get past that thermostat level for me. And for me, it was creativity, and that's what kind of truly drew me to run in NFT projects and run it like a business, because it gives me the opportunity to be a visionary and let my creativity thrive and flourish, while also being a sales guy and selling the business.
I got you. So as we wrap this up, what other words of wisdom, thoughts you want to impart to the people that have been listening? And we've talked and covered a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah, man. So my big thing is never give up, right? Never give up is where it starts at. If you have that never give up mentality, you can't lose, because you're going to move forward, and maybe move forward as another direction. But just because you're going another direction, the true objective probably doesn't change if you're totally dialed in on your true objective. And then number two is whatever it takes, right? If you're ready to do whatever it takes, you will be successful. That's my motto. You have to do whatever it takes. And sometimes whatever it takes is knocking doors. Sometimes whatever it takes is picking up a phone. Sometimes whatever it takes is hitting the road and being gone, and that's whatever it takes mentality. And everybody around me, I make sure I instill those two things on. And then number three is do dope shit, right? If you're doing some cool shit, you're gonna be passionate about what you're doing, and you don't have to 100% be on 100% on target with your dream when you start, right? you can be on the outskirts of your dream and just kind of working on it. And just by working on it, you're gonna pull yourself closer and closer to the middle. And then one day you're gonna look up and be like, holy shit, I'm at my dream. So you just have to start. You have to decide you're not gonna lose. You have to decide you're gonna do whatever it takes, and then do some cool shit.
I love it,
That's
dude.
really
I
what
love
it
it.
is.
So where can people find you?
So yeah, I'm on Facebook, Andrew Sayles, Sayles, like my last name. I'm on Twitter with @close some sales. Those are the best places to find me. Every single morning on Facebook, I run a chat called Coffee and Crypto. It's a Facebook video chat. You don't have to have your camera on, but we do it every single morning at 9:06 a.m. We're about to bounce to a new platform that's going to be like the social media of NFTs, but you can find us on Facebook and we'll direct you there. And I got a project called Adopoly, right? We're the crypto version of Monopoly. You roll dice, you move around the board, you land on a property you don't own, you pay a written LAD token. That's our native coin. Every time you pass go, you earn LAD token, and you can also earn by owning properties in the game. We're getting officially licensed by Hasbro. So check us out at Ladopoly_NFT on Twitter, or Ladopoly, LADOPOLY.io is our website, and you can find us there. But yeah, pretty easy to find on social media.
Awesome, man. Thank you again, Andrew, for being on the show. I appreciate it. It's always good to talk with you. And for everyone listening, thank you for listening to the 150K podcast, where we help take your dreams to six figures and beyond. And like Andrew said, go and do legendary shit. And until next time, have a great day.